Welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 9 o'clock. It's time for another video. Today I am going to be starting a new series here on Magic TV. And I've been wanting to do this series for a while. I think this could be a really good idea. I want to know what you think. The whole idea is that I'm going to take a different professional magician or a different professional entertainer. It might not always be a professional magician. And I'm going to talk about what we can learn from watching that magician or that entertainer or that person, whether it be from a business side of things or whether it be from the magic side of things or the performing side of things, because I think we can learn a lot by watching other people. And I think this would be a very interesting video series to actually present to you guys, because that's what Magic TV is all about. Obviously, I like to present the sort of stuff that you guys are interested in, so if you agree with me, let me know in the comments down below. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps. Now, today I thought I'd start off with somebody I know very well and somebody I can talk about in great detail, which is the one and only David Penn. Now, if you haven't already done so, please go back and check out the video, the interview I did with David Penn, probably about a year ago now, and I interviewed him and talked through his career. David has done an awful lot, and he is one of the most successful magicians in the UK. He performs literally all over the world. He has an incredible career as a performer, as an illusionist, as a creator of magic. He has created some of the most popular magic tricks of all time. Things like coin vex are used by workers all over the world. Things like the 52 to 1 deck that he created with Wayne Fox is used all over the world. And you know, he's the perfect example of a successful professional magician. And if you watch how David conducts himself, and if you watch how he presents himself on video, and if you listen to what he's done during his career, you can learn an awful lot from David Penn. So let's start with David Penn. Here we go. Let's count down the things that we can learn by watching David Penn. Okay, point number one, the first thing that we can learn from David is you have to have, within magic, the ability to reinvent yourself. I have referred to David many, many times in the past as the Madonna of magic, and he really is. He has completely reinvented himself over and over again. If you look back at David when he first started his career, he was kind of a bit of a kid show performer. He did this thing in cinemas. You can listen to the interview he did, but he did this thing in cinemas, and it was very kind of kids entertainment-y. And then after that, he moved into illusions, and he kind of had that very slick, blonde illusionist look. From there, you know, he transitioned into close-up magic while still keeping the illusion thing going. Most recently, he's transitioned into tech magic. And, you know, he was one of the foremost pioneers of using tech-based magic. He saw a gap in the market when it came to conferences and when it came to corporate events, and he embraced technology way before anyone else in a very different way to what other people were doing. Whilst everyone else was like pulling packs of cards out of iPads, he was approaching things in a very, very different way. And even more recently, he's moved away from illusions, but he's still doing smaller illusions in more of a parlor type situation. He's always reinventing himself, and that's something that we should learn from David. It is very important throughout your career to reinvent yourself. You can't continue to do the same thing constantly ad infinitum. You have to adapt for various different reasons. As you get older, you might not be able to do the type of magic that you were doing when you were 20 or 30. So, you know, the style of magic you might do might not work for you. The type of audiences you might work for might not be there anymore. There's a variety of different reasons why you need to reinvent yourself, but you constantly should strive to freshen up both your act and your look, and that's something that David has done exceptionally well. Okay, the second thing that we can learn from David Penn is don't be afraid to compete. And I've got here brackets social proof. And that's something that I've seen David do throughout his whole career. He was hyper aware when he first got into magic, and he still is now, of the importance of having social proof. And what I mean by social proof are accolades, awards, achievements of things that you have done that you can brag about, whether it be on a website or a phone call to a client. And that can be anything from TV appearances to winning competitions. But this specific point is about the competitions that he's entered and won in the past. He's, obviously, in his early days, he won pretty much everything. He won the Magic Circle Close-Up Magician of the Year, the Stage Magician of the Year, Illusionist of the Year, Children's Entertainer of the Year. The list went on and on and on. He won all of these awards, really put himself on the map. And that catapulted his career in the early days. Winning all of these competitions was just phenomenal for him. But it's something he's revisited in later years as well. We all know that he was the person that had a huge part to play when it came to changing the perception of magic on Britain's Got Talent. He went on Britain's Got Talent as part of David and Karen. Make no mistake, David was the brains of that duo. I don't mean to be negative towards Karen. I don't mean brains in that respect. What I mean is he was the person that put that act together. He was the person that had the idea of going on there as a double act. It was his illusions that were being used from his warehouse. He just decided that rather than going on there as David Penn, he went on there as David and Karen, right? It was very smart thinking, really. But he went on there, took a risk, and the risk absolutely paid off. And he's not afraid to do other competitions. After doing Britain's Got Talent, he did Britain Does Variety and won Britain's Does Variety. Had fantastic video footage and social proof that he could put on his website and brag about and so on and so forth. And I think this is the point that I'm trying to make here, which is, don't be afraid to enter competitions because they will open up doors. You look at all the people that are successful. A lot of the people that are successful have won awards within the industry. Don't be afraid to compete. It will give you tons of social proof that you can use and you can leverage to climb that ladder of success. Okay, the next thing that I want to point out is I've got it here. Put yourself out there. I see a lot of magicians and what they do is they sit at home and they wait for the phone to ring and then they wonder why they're not getting work. They wonder why the phone's not ringing and why they're not getting the work that other people are getting. Why is it that I'm not getting that work? Well, one thing that David has done is he's put himself out there. He managed to get, especially in his early days, on tons of TV shows, Astounding Celebrities, tons of different TV shows and tons of different platforms that he could go on, and that came from putting himself out there. And in a way, this is talking about competitions again, but it's not just talking about competitions, it's about being noticed. It's about being on everyone's radar, whether that everyone be an agent or whether it be a TV producer or whatever it may be. He was the person that was really pushing himself out there so that when somebody's looking for a magician, when somebody's looking for a magician for an entertainment agency, or they've got a new TV show and they want a fresh face, it's David Penn they think of because he just appears everywhere. You've got to put yourself out there. I've got another side note on this as well, which is get noticed. If you want to get noticed by agents, if you want to get noticed by TV production companies, if you want to get noticed, you have to put yourself out there. You can't just sit at home and expect for them to come to you. You have to go to them. And all of the things that David's done, the awards that he's won, the TV shows that he's been on, it all comes back to getting yourself noticed, and he's done that throughout his entire career, and he's always, and I'm going to get to actually, you know what, I'm going to leave that for the next point. Let's talk about what he's done right now. Okay, a little bit of a tease there, but the other thing that he's done quite masterfully is and I've got it here, he's embraced modern marketing techniques and he's embraced technology. What I mean by that is, I remember when I first met David Penn, he had these wonderful brochures and cards and things that he would send out to people. And then, he was one of the first people to have a really awesome website that he's constantly always working on. And he when domain names became a thing, he was out getting tons of domain names. And I know at one point he had loads of different domain names from loads of different places. And when I've seen him at wedding fairs, he's always got the nicest wedding fair with the stand with wonderful social proof, and everything looks absolutely immaculate. And really part of it is his image, and it's about portraying them as super successful and super professional, right? And that's what you have to do. That's absolutely what you have to do. You have to embrace modern marketing techniques. You have to embrace technology. As new ways come up to market yourself, you need to go and do those. You can't just rely on sending mail shots out to people and advertising in the yellow pages because that worked 15 or 20 years ago. You need to make sure that you're doing more. You need to make sure what's the newest method of marketing yourself. You need to do that. The next point that I've got here is diversify. And that's a really interesting point. Diversification. Diversify. One thing that I've been very vocal about that I think that professional magicians should do is that they should have more than one income stream. I think it's very important. And if the pandemic has taught us anything, it's that you need to have more than one income stream. Because if you're just relying on entertainment and you're just relying on going out and being a gigging magician and the entire world goes to shit like it has done, for 18 months during the pandemic, you're going to be in a situation where you can't perform. And I found it very interesting that a lot of the big name magicians that boast about the most amazing gigs that they do, they were the ones that were shouting from the rooftops going, oh my God, what am I going to do? I've got no work, I've got no money. And several of them went out and got themselves, jobs to survive during the pandemic. And I know that David didn't do that. In fact, I remember having a conversation with him shortly after the pandemic started, and I remember him saying, well, I'm not really too worried. I'm absolutely fine. And one of the reasons is he has diversified. He has got several income streams. And we know this from all the different things that he's done over the years. He's not just being an entertainer. Although he makes a lot of money as a magician, as an entertainer, we'll get to that a little bit later on. It's not just that. I know that he has his fingers in property. I don't know what, I don't know him well enough to know that, but I know that he has his fingers in property. Also, you see World Magic Shop is the perfect example. He set up, World Magic Shop with Jim Traynor. And after that, with Jonathan Farr. And at one point, the World Magic Shop was one of the biggest magic companies in the whole of the UK. And now it's really just a platform for David's personal creations, and that's absolutely fine. But he diversified into running a magic dealership, right? Which was very, very successful. He's a creator of magic. He makes a huge income from creating magic, and he doesn't sell that to other... he doesn't do what I do, where he goes to Murphy's and says, hey, take this on for me. He goes to Penguin and says, take this on for me. He produces the stuff himself, and then he'll put it out through a Murphy's Magic, for example. And it's another example of diversification. If he can sit there and create a trick and then put that trick through Murphy's and loads of people buy it, it's another income stream, right? And he's got all these different income streams. I don't really know too much about what he does, but I know he manages various different acts, and I know he consults for various different acts. I know that he's worked with various different people in the past on various different TV shows. He's been a consultant. He's got all these different income streams coming in from all these different places. So that if the world does go to crap, and as I said, when it comes to the world going to crap, if it's anything that we've learned from COVID, it's that you never know what's going to happen around the corner. By having various different income streams, it will help you in the long run. Another point that I've got here when it comes to actually income streams and diversification, another point that I've got is not to be afraid of charging what you feel you're worth. I remember when I first met David, he was charging 6 or 7 times more for close-up magic than your average close-up magician. And, it was at a time when there was a lot of chatter from close-up magicians going, oh, you can't get that sort of fee. There's no way you can get that sort of fee. That's impossible. And David was regularly going out getting that sort of fee. And he does now. He doesn't care what the market is charging. He charges what he thinks it's worth. And he delivers. He charges what he feels he is worth. Now, the key point here, and it comes back to putting yourself out there, and it comes back to branding. One thing that David has done really well is he's created a brand. David Penn himself is a brand, right? And he's spent a lot of time and effort making sure that brand looks great. You see him going to gigs, and he is immaculately dressed. He's always groomed nicely. You know what to expect with David Penn. He has a certain he has a certain brand, and that brand fits into charging a higher price to have him at an event than most magicians. He's not afraid to charge what he thinks he's worth. Okay, 2 more points that I think we can learn from David Penn. And the first is, don't be afraid to network, both with magicians and non-magicians. Surround yourself with people that you feel might be able to help you. So, I know that David has, strong ties and has linked up with lots of different entertainment agencies and event planners and lots of different booking agents that have literally got him work from all around the world. Now, that didn't happen by accident. That was from design. That was him going out and busting his arse and working hard to go out and build up those relationships with people. When he goes to a gig and there's a person at a gig that's a CEO or a marketing director or something like that, he's going to make sure that he chats to that person. He's building up relationships. He's constantly building up relationships and networking with people to make sure that everybody knows who he is. But it's the same with magicians. He's always surrounded himself with lots of magicians that he can pass work to, and in return, he can get work from. I saw that many years ago with various different magicians, and I see it again today now. Even with somebody like me, we've never really passed each other work, but when he set up the Wizard Product Review and he wanted a co-host, it was me that he went to. He looks at who he's got in his circle, and he picks the right person for the right thing. By having a big network of friends and colleagues and people that you're close with, it allows you to leverage that network effectively. And to be honest, that's what networking is all about. Networking is about building up relationships with people, getting them to know you and like you and ultimately trust you, so they pass you work and you pass them work. And that's something that David has done masterfully. And the final thing that we can learn from David Penn is love what you do. One thing that I get every single time I see David, every single time I see him, one thing I get is that he's very passionate about magic. He's very, very passionate about magic. He loves magic. He loves performing. He loves creating magic. He loves selling magic. He loves performing for clients, whatever it may be. He's a huge fan of magic. Because he's a huge fan of magic, that comes across... I was reading that point there. Because he's a huge fan of magic, that comes across in everything he does. And I think that's the most important thing that we can learn from David. Love what you do. I have met people that are in this game that are literally going through the motions, and you can tell they're going through the motions, and ultimately that's just not good for your mental health. So if you're going to do something, absolutely love it and embrace it. So there you go, guys. That's the end of a new video series, what we can learn from insert name here, in this case David Penn. Do you want me to do this again? And if you do, let me know down below who you want me to do it on. I picked David Penn to start with because obviously I have history with David. I've known him for years. If you give me a name down below, I'll research that person and I will include them in my list of people I plan on doing this series with. But only if you guys think it's a good idea. So do me a favor, let me know what you think in the comments down below. You want to see more videos like this, just like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. I'm going to be back again tomorrow with another video. If you haven't already done so, go check out the NETRIX. It's www.thenetrix.com. You can go check out what all the fuss is about and try it out for a month. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks very much. You can check out David Penn's interview by checking out the Talk Magic playlist on Magic TV. I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.